So I've got a very nice hunter build for you today, a build that's got everything. Survivability, tick, we're going to tick that box here with this survivability here. We're in the 1590 lost sector. It's also got 50% incoming arc damage increase as well, so if you haven't got this building you won't be able to stand here and do this. You're going to get absolutely smashed, trust me. The build I'm running at the moment is absolutely fantastic. I'm running classy restoration, so the survivability part of the build is all to do with these clips, and I'm also putting out some serious damage. Look at that, I tanked them two shanks. I'm also putting out some serious damage with lament, and I'm also running Star Eater scales and blade barrage. So not only are we going excellent survivability, we're going to be putting out some serious damage too. And what I've done is I've just put a little clip in here. I've switched to my warlock, and this isn't the build I was just being shown you. This is just a normal build, and this is what happens when you're not running this build of the hunter that I was just showing you, the survivability build. This is just one of my other characters. He's still a decent level, he's 1574, so he's getting absolutely shredded in here. So that just goes to sort of cement the survivability part of the hunter build that I'm showing you in the first sort of clips. And like I said, I've got lament on and classy restoration, so we're going to use lament safely at ease. You're always going to be nice and safe, and the way I've got my fragments and the mods set up, we are consistently going to have 100% uptime on our restoration. So, and as long as we're getting kills or scorching enemies, you can just walk around without caring the world in any activity. Trust me, it's absolutely brilliant. So for me, this build is probably one of the best builds of the season because it's got everything: survivability and excellent sort of damage output as well with lament. And not only with lament, it's an anti-barrier weapon, of course, and you're going to be very, very safe using it the way I've got it set up, where we can just dodge before we go in, get our 10 seconds of healing, so we're really safe. And if we get a kill on top of that, we're going to extend that timer with some of the fragments and the mods that I've got set up. This particular gameplay here isn't the 1590, but the Lost Sectors was. This is just showcasing like how sort of tanky you are just in a normal sort of dungeon really. Although the Lost Sector clips that I did show you at the beginning there was 1590 with 50% incoming arc, so I was just showing you this one just to show you the how much damage you can take in normal activities also in the dungeon. So yeah, so survivability is 10 out of 10. Star Eater scales with blade barrage is one of the best supers now in the game. Crazy damage with lament, also combining these two together with the survivability, you are going to be tank, well, glass cannon, but except you're not a glass cannon, you are just a cannon because you do some damage, getting your ×8 up all the time with other mods that I'm running, which I'll show you more into the build as we go. So there you go. I just hope you found the clips good. Survivability, insane damage with lament, and your blade barrage is top super at the moment. And as you can see there, lament does some superb damage, and your blade barrage, once you've got your ×8 going, or even your ×6, ×8 is what you want on your Feast of Light. I'm going to go more into the build as we go, so stay tuned, and I'm going to show you the full build, the full breakdown. It's got everything. Like I said, it feels like it's two builds in one: survivability and insane damage. Stay tuned, I'm going to show you the full build breakdown. So this is now the sort of full setup. As you can see, there's my stats: 72, 103 resilience, 10 resilience, or 100 on here. That's the important one. That's allowing you to get 40% damage reduction. Recovery, looking at that, it looks pap. Well, it is crap, but don't worry about it because you don't need it. Definitely don't spec into recovery because we've got classy restoration going all of the time. I always like to run a high discipline. Your intellect, it's just the way I could sort of, this is the stats that I sort of could get. That's like the best gear I had. If you can get higher intellect, it's good, or higher discipline, that's also good. And again, your strength, it's something I don't spec into. Strength or recovery on my hunter, I don't spec into it at all. I'll explain why as I go. These are the fragments and the aspects that I'm running. On your mark and knock them down. Gunpowder Gamble is the one that I don't run on this build because I think it costs too much for what it gives you. It is fun, it looks good on the eye, but running something like On Your Mark and getting them 3 extra fragment slots, we can really spec into our build and the scorch and everything like that. So On Your Mark and knock them down. I'll briefly touch on knock them down. Your solar supers are enhanced. Golden Gun Dense Shot has increased duration. Golden Gun Marksman has increased damage resistance, and Blade Barrage launches more projectiles. So while we're radiant, final blows with your equipped throwing knife fully refund your melee energy as well. So this is the one that we want, because that'll stack in with Starry Scales to give our supers absolutely crazy damage. Like I said, I'm running Blade Barrage because it's top super at the moment with Starry Scales, and as long as you've got like a ×8 going on there, which you can do. So on your mark, knock them down. The grenade I run is Fireball, and I like to run that because it's a quick cooldown and I can apply Scorch twice as quick as what I would be doing with something like a solar grenade. Knife Trick, because you get free knives and you can scorch 3 things at once if you time it right. My dodge is Gambler's Dodge. Wherever I dodge, I'm going to get my melee back as long as I'm near an enemy. Fragments, Ember of Singeing. Your class ability recharges faster when you scorch, so that's why I like to run the Fireball grenade, because you get it twice as quick, so I can scorch things quicker, get my class ability back a lot quicker. So as long as I'm scorching, you're going to get your class ability back. Powered melee attacks from Ember of Torches. Powered melee attacks against combatants make you and your nearby allies radiant, which is a 25% damage buff. You can get that going all of the time also with this build. Radiant and restoration effects applied to you have increased duration. That's Ember of Solace, so you get an extra 5 seconds on both, I think it is, something like that, so that's always handy. Ember of Searing, defeating scorched targets grants melee energy, so if I'm killing anything that's scorched, I'm getting my melee energy back, and I'm also getting my class ability back, so it's like a nice little cycle that goes on. And then Ember of Empyrean, that's the new one that come out the other day, and that's basically a bit like, it reminds me a bit like Devour. So solar weapon or ability final blows extend the duration of your restoration and radiance. So if you're getting kills, you can just keep your classy restoration going forever. And if you run out and you don't get a couple of kills, not to worry, because you're going to have it back. You're going to have your dodge back to activate it anyway, with all of the scorching that I was talking about. And then the last sort of one is the mods. I'm obviously running classy restoration, something like utility kickstart, where you, when your class ability energy is fully expended, you gain a little bit back, which is always helpful. Elemental armaments, I'm running Font of Might, so I can get another 25% damage buff to my solar weapons. Powerful Friends, that gives you 20 mobility as long as you've got an arc. That just helps with the sort of mobility on the build. I'm also running Melee Wellmaker because I'm going to have my melee all the time. You're going to constantly be creating loads of elemental wells. And I'm also running Ordnance, so you're going to create loads of elemental wells with that. And then the very last one, Harmonic Siphon. Rapid final blows with a damage matching your subclass type, create an orb of power. Which again, is quite important because I'm running a solar subclass and I'm predominantly running solar weapons. So if you get a couple of kills with your lament, a couple of kills with your solar shotgun or whatever solar weapons you're using, you're going to create orbs of power, which is going to enable you to get your super quicker, and you're also going to be able to get your ×8 Feast of Light very quickly indeed. So that's the build. I hope you found it good. Take it easy.